Have you ever felt like something isn't quite right in your life? Maybe you've noticed certain habits creeping in, and no matter how hard you try, they seem impossible to shake off. You know deep down that these habits are pulling you away from your true purpose, but you're unsure of how to make that change. Well, today, we're diving into an important topic that every believer needs to be aware of: the 7 signs Allah wants you to avoid bad habits. These signs are subtle, yet powerful messages from Allah, guiding us to reflect, make better choices, and stay on the straight path. By recognizing these signs, you can regain control over your life, find peace of mind, and get back on track toward the purpose Allah has created you for. But before we begin, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Deen Xplorers for more inspiring content that helps you grow in your faith. So, let's get started and discover how Allah's signs are guiding you to break free from bad habits and live a life filled with purpose, peace, and closeness to Him. 1. Your heart feels uneasy and guilty. When Allah warns us about bad habits, He often does so by giving us signs that guide us back to the right path. One of the most powerful signs we experience is when our heart feels uneasy and guilty. Have you ever felt that discomfort in your chest when you've done something wrong, even if no one else knows about it? That feeling is not just a random emotion. It's a reminder from Allah. Allah has created us with an instinct to recognize right from wrong. This inner feeling of unease is actually a form of guidance, a gentle push from within to make us realize that we are stepping away from the right path. It's a call to stop, reflect, and correct our actions. This feeling is not meant to punish us, but to save us, to prevent us from falling deeper into habits that could harm us spiritually and mentally. When we act in ways that displease Allah, whether it's lying, cheating, being dishonest, or indulging in harmful activities, our hearts naturally feel the weight of these actions. This is because Allah has designed our hearts to be sensitive to His commands. When we violate these commands, even if we don't always understand why, we feel a deep sense of discomfort. It's a sign that something isn't right and we need to take action. But often, instead of addressing the issue, we ignore it or try to push the feeling away. However, when we ignore the feelings of guilt and unease, it becomes easier to continue making the same mistakes. That's why it's so important to listen to this inner voice and act on it, because it's Allah calling us back to Him. O you who believe, fear Allah and speak in straightforward words. When we feel uneasy in our hearts, it's a sign that we need to realign ourselves with justice, truth, and righteousness. Allah is always guiding us towards betterment, and these feelings of guilt are simply a part of that guidance. Instead of ignoring the discomfort, we should welcome it as a chance to improve ourselves, to reflect on our actions, and to seek forgiveness from Allah. When we do so, we grow stronger in our faith and become more aligned with the path Allah wants us to follow. 2. You start losing your peace of mind. Peace of mind is one of the greatest blessings Allah bestows upon us. It's that calmness, that serenity, which allows us to face life's challenges with strength and confidence. When we are on the right path, aligned with Allah's guidance, our hearts remain peaceful, even in the midst of trials. However, when we begin to engage in bad habits or stray away from the guidance of the Quran and Sunnah, one of the first signs we notice is the loss of this inner peace. Have you ever felt that anxiety or unrest creeping into your heart, even when everything on the outside seems fine? This is a clear indication that something in our life isn't right. The loss of peace is a spiritual sign from Allah telling us that we need to make a change before the consequences grow worse. When we indulge in bad habits such as dishonesty, neglecting our prayers, or even mistreating others, it disrupts the natural peace Allah has placed in our hearts. This internal conflict is a reminder that we are not living in harmony with the values that Allah has prescribed for us. The peace we once had starts to fade, replaced by feelings of anxiety, frustration, and restlessness. We might try to ignore these feelings or distract ourselves with temporary pleasures, but deep down, we know something is wrong. This inner turmoil is a sign that we need to return to Allah, to reconnect with our purpose, and to realign our actions with His commands. The ones who believe and their hearts are peaceful with the remembrance of Allah. Listen, the hearts find peace only in the remembrance of Allah. True peace doesn't come from worldly possessions or distractions, but from remembering Allah, from seeking His forgiveness, and from living a life that aligns with His will. When we feel the peace slipping away, it's a powerful invitation to return to Him, to make dua, and to re-establish our connection with the Creator. The more we engage in acts of worship, such as prayer, reading the Quran, and doing good deeds, the more peace we will experience in our hearts. Losing our peace of mind is not something to ignore. It's an opportunity for self-reflection and growth. Instead of allowing ourselves to spiral further into anxiety, we can turn to Allah for guidance and strength. We can find peace by turning away from harmful habits and focusing on the things that bring us closer to Him. Allah is always ready to provide us with tranquility, but we must seek it through His guidance. When we make the effort to realign ourselves with His teachings, peace will naturally return to our hearts, filling us with a sense of calm that no worldly possession can provide. 3. You start avoiding prayer and good deeds. One of the most powerful signs that Allah wants you to avoid bad habits is when you start avoiding prayer and good deeds. These are the foundational actions that bring us closer to Allah and help us live a life of purpose and goodness. Prayer, or salah, is the direct connection between us and our Creator. It is a way to purify our hearts, seek forgiveness, and express gratitude. Good deeds, whether they are small acts of kindness or larger charitable actions, keep our hearts soft and remind us of the importance of helping others. When we begin to neglect these essential acts, it's a clear indication that we are drifting away from the path that Allah has set for us. At first, it may seem like skipping one prayer or neglecting one good deed isn't a big deal. We might tell ourselves that we are too busy, tired, or distracted with other things in life. However, when this behavior becomes a pattern, it is a sign that something deeper is wrong. Our hearts become harder, and our connection to Allah weakens. We start feeling less motivated to engage in acts of worship or do good for others. This is when we need to stop and take a step back to reflect on why we are avoiding these important actions. Is it because we have become too absorbed in the distractions of the world? Or is it because our hearts have grown distant from the remembrance of Allah? He is the one who has made the earth subjugated for you, so walk on its shoulders and eat out of His provision, and to Him is the resurrection. Everything in this world, including the ability to perform acts of worship and do good deeds, is a gift from Allah. When we avoid these gifts, we are neglecting the very purpose for which we were created, to worship Allah and to make the world a better place. The more we turn away from prayer and good deeds, the more we lose sight of the true meaning of our lives. If you notice yourself avoiding prayer or good deeds, take it as a sign from Allah to realign yourself. This is an opportunity to reconnect with the core of your faith. It's never too late to begin again. Start with small steps. Make time for your prayers, even if it's just one at a time. Perform acts of kindness, no matter how small, and remember that every good deed is rewarded by Allah. Over time, as you make these small efforts to improve, you will feel your connection with Allah grow stronger, and your heart will be filled with the peace and contentment that come from being close to Him. By prioritizing prayer and good deeds, you are not only avoiding bad habits, but also strengthening your faith and fulfilling your purpose in this world. 4. You feel distance from Allah's mercy. One of the most painful feelings a believer can experience is the sense of distance from Allah's mercy. Allah is full of mercy, and His doors of forgiveness are always open to those who turn to Him in repentance. However, when we begin to indulge in bad habits or make poor choices, we might start to feel as though we are drifting away from that mercy. It's not that Allah's mercy has decreased. His mercy is infinite and constant, but rather, we may start to feel unworthy or disconnected from Him. This feeling of distance is a sign that we need to make a conscious effort to return to Allah, to seek His forgiveness, and to purify our hearts. When we fall into bad habits, whether it's through neglecting our obligations, engaging in sinful behavior, or allowing ourselves to be consumed by distractions, our hearts can become hardened. The more we indulge in these habits, the further we distance ourselves from Allah's mercy. We might feel overwhelmed by guilt, thinking that Allah would never forgive us, but this is not the case. Allah's mercy is always greater than any sin, and His forgiveness is always within reach. It is we who may feel distant, but Allah is always near, ready to forgive and guide us back to the right path. Say, on my behalf, O servants of mine who have acted recklessly against their own selves, do not despair of Allah's mercy. Surely, Allah will forgive all sins. Surely, He is the one who is the most forgiving, the very merciful. No matter how far we feel from Allah's mercy, we are never too far. Allah's forgiveness is unlimited, and His love for us is boundless. The moment we turn to Him with sincerity, seeking His forgiveness, He is there to embrace us with His mercy. The key is not to give in to the feeling of distance, but to recognize it as an invitation from Allah to return to Him. If you feel distant from Allah's mercy, take it as a sign that you need to reflect on your actions and reconnect with Him. Turn to Allah in sincere repentance, and remember that no sin is too great for Allah's forgiveness. When you make the effort to draw closer to Him through prayer, seeking forgiveness, and doing good deeds, you will feel the weight of your heart lift and the closeness of Allah's mercy return. Always remember that Allah is there for us, no matter how far we feel, and His mercy is greater than anything else in this world. 5. You become irritable and lose patience. Losing your patience and becoming irritable are clear signs that something is amiss in your heart. As human beings, we all experience moments of frustration and anger, but when these feelings become frequent and uncontrollable, it's a strong indication that we need to examine our actions and habits. Losing patience is often connected to a deeper spiritual struggle. When we stray from the path Allah has set for us, our hearts become unsettled, and our ability to remain calm in difficult situations diminishes. We might find ourselves snapping at others, becoming easily upset, or even feeling overwhelmed by small challenges. This irritability is a warning that our connection with Allah is weakening, and it is a call to return to Him for guidance and strength. In moments of frustration, we might be tempted to lash out or react in ways that we later regret. However, these moments of weakness are not opportunities to give in to bad habits, but rather chances to reflect on our relationship with Allah. The more we engage in bad habits, such as neglecting prayer, becoming consumed by worldly desires, or failing to maintain gratitude, the more we lose our ability to remain patient and composed. This is because patience is rooted in a strong connection with Allah and a deep trust in His plan. When we lose sight of this, we find it harder to stay calm and steady during trials. Seek help through patience and prayer. It is indeed exacting, but not for those who are humble in their hearts. Patience is not something we can achieve on our own. It requires the help of Allah through prayer, reflection, and surrendering to His will. Patience is a form of worship that brings us closer to Allah and helps us navigate life's challenges with grace. When we lose patience, it's a sign that we are relying too much on our own strength and not enough on Allah's guidance. By turning to Allah in times of difficulty and seeking His help through prayer, we can regain our patience and composure. If you notice yourself becoming irritable or losing your patience frequently, take it as a sign that you need to reconnect with Allah. Take a step back, reflect on your habits, and remember that true patience comes from trusting Allah's plan. When you seek His help, make dua, and engage in acts of worship, you will find your patience restored, and your heart will become more peaceful. Through patience, you not only overcome personal struggles, but also grow closer to Allah, who rewards the patient with His mercy and blessings. 6. You begin to isolate yourself. Isolation is another sign that bad habits are taking root in your life. Humans are social beings, and Allah has created us to live in community, to support one another, and to be a source of good for each other. However, when we start to engage in harmful habits, we may begin to distance ourselves from others, both emotionally and physically. We might find ourselves withdrawing from family, friends, and the community. This sense of isolation often stems from feelings of guilt, shame, or the desire to avoid accountability. We might feel as though we don't deserve the company of others because of our mistakes, or we may fear that others will judge us for the things we've done. However, this isolation is not a healthy response, and it is a clear sign that we need to reevaluate our actions and seek Allah's help to reconnect with those around us. When we fall into bad habits, it's easy to feel disconnected from the people who care about us. We may become ashamed of our behavior, thinking that others will look down on us if they knew the truth. But in reality, this isolation only makes the problem worse. It cuts us off from the support, love, and encouragement that we need to overcome our struggles. Moreover, it weakens our connection with the community, which Allah has commanded us to maintain. The strength of our faith is often enhanced by the support of others, and by isolating ourselves, we make it harder to grow spiritually and emotionally. Instead of pulling away, we should seek help from those who care about us and turn to Allah, who is always there to guide us. Say, nothing can ever reach us except what Allah has destined for us. He is our master. And in Allah alone, the believers must place their trust. No matter what struggles we face, we are never alone. Allah is our ultimate protector, and He has designed us to be part of a community where we can find strength and support. When we isolate ourselves, we cut ourselves off from the very help and support that Allah has provided. If you feel the urge to withdraw from others, take it as a sign that you need to seek Allah's guidance and reconnect with your loved ones and community. They are there to help you, and together you can work towards overcoming any negative habits and growing stronger in faith. If you feel yourself withdrawing from those around you, reach out to someone you trust. Don't allow isolation to become a habit that keeps you distant from the love and support that Allah has made available to you. Engage in positive relationships, seek the company of righteous individuals, and remember that your community can help uplift you and guide you back to the path of righteousness. By reconnecting with those around you and with Allah, you can overcome feelings of isolation and find the strength to leave behind bad habits. 7. You feel like you've lost your purpose. One of the most profound signs that Allah is urging you to avoid bad habits is when you start to feel as though you've lost your sense of purpose in life. We are all created with a specific purpose: to worship Allah, to do good deeds, and to contribute positively to the world around us. But when we stray from Allah's guidance, we may begin to feel aimless, disconnected, and unsure of our direction in life. We might find ourselves going through the motions, feeling like we are merely surviving rather than thriving. This feeling of lost purpose is a wake-up call, a sign that we need to return to Allah, reconnect with the purpose He has given us, and realign ourselves with His guidance. When we allow bad habits to take over our lives, it becomes difficult to see the bigger picture. We become absorbed in the temporary pleasures of the world, forgetting the deeper meaning behind our existence. This disconnection from our true purpose leads to a sense of emptiness and confusion. We might wonder why we feel unfulfilled, even when everything around us seems to be going well. The answer often lies in the fact that we have lost sight of Allah's plan for us, and we are not living in a way that aligns with His guidance. However, The moment we turn back to Allah and seek His help, He will show us our true purpose once again. I did not create the jinns and the human beings except for the purpose that they should worship me. Our ultimate purpose in life is to worship Allah and to live in accordance with His will. When we feel lost or uncertain about our purpose, we should reflect on this verse and remember that everything we do, our work, our relationships, our daily actions, should be in service to Allah. By focusing on our purpose of worship and striving to live a righteous life, we will find meaning and fulfillment in everything we do. If you feel as though you've lost your purpose, take it as a sign to reconnect with Allah and refocus on your true goals in life. Start by strengthening your relationship with Him through prayer, remembrance, and good deeds. Reflect on the blessings Allah has given you and the opportunities you have to make a positive impact on the world. Re-establishing your connection with Allah will help you rediscover your purpose, and as you realign yourself with His guidance, you will find fulfillment and clarity once again. Remember that Allah has created you with a unique purpose, and when you live in accordance with His will, you will feel a deep sense of peace and direction. And that's a wrap on today's topic. I hope these 7 signs have helped you recognize when Allah is guiding you away from bad habits and towards a better path. Remember, Allah's mercy is always there for us, and by following His signs, we can always improve and grow closer to Him. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Deen Xplorers.